Hello friends, this video on Ecosystem Part 17 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Now some important points to be noted with regards to ecological pyramids. Now some of the important points or exceptions here are as follows. The first one is pyramid of number or biomass in most of the ecosystems are upright. Please note that it says in most of the ecosystems and not all. What does that mean? First of all, what do we mean by an upright pyramid and an inverted pyramid? So upright pyramid is going to be one which has a bigger base. So when we say upright, it is going to be a pyramid like this. And when we say inverted, it is going to be just the opposite. So an inverted one would be something like this. So mostly it is upright for most of the ecosystems, but there can be exceptions to it. In fact, there are exceptions to it. So one such example where we get an inverted pyramid in the sense the producers are less here. So these are the producers and these are the primary consumers. This is secondary consumers and so on. So as you go higher in the trophic level, the number of organisms increases. The amount of biomass also increases. Now one such example which I would like to mention here is, let us suppose insects which are feeding on a tree. So there is one big tree, but there are a lot of insects which are there which are eating from this tree. So in that case, what will you say? The number of producer is just one. There is just one tree. But when you talk about the primary consumers which are insects, they are more. Now these insects might be eaten up by birds and the number of birds are even more. So here this is the tree. The tree is being eaten up by the insects and the number of insects are quite more than the number of trees. And the insects might be eaten up by birds whose number is even greater than the insects. So therefore here we get an inverted pyramid. Therefore it is not a necessity that every time the pyramid will be upright. Sometimes it can be inverted as well. Pyramid of energy is always upright. So here we were talking about pyramid of number and biomass. But if you talk about pyramid of energy, this will always be upright. Why? Because some energy will always be lost during transfer from one trophic level to another. And energy transfer is unidirectional. So energy transfer always happens from producer to primary consumer to secondary consumer. So this is unidirectional transfer of energy, and whenever this transfer happens, some amount of energy will be lost as heat. That means the amount of energy here will always be more than this amount of energy here. So that is very obvious, and therefore the pyramid will always be upright because the producer will always have greater energy. A given organism can occupy multiple trophic levels in a given ecosystem. So this is important. Now one particular organism, that organism can occupy multiple trophic levels. Now what do we mean by this? So let us take an example. Let us suppose that there are some plants. Now I am considering two different food chains in the same ecosystem. So in one ecosystem, I am considering that plants are directly eaten up by birds. So these birds eat the seeds or the fruits from this plant. So that is one food chain. I am considering another food chain where the plants are eaten up by small insects or worms, and these worms are eaten up by the birds. And both of these food chains exist in the same ecosystem. Right? So in both the food chain, plant is the producer. Now in the first food chain, what is bird? Bird is a primary consumer. So bird occupies first, in this case it occupies second trophic level. Whereas in this food chain, the bird occupies third trophic level. So that means the same organism, that is the bird, occupies multiple trophic levels in a given ecosystem. And why this happens? This happens because the same bird can eat different organisms at the same time. So the bird can eat plants also, and the bird can eat worms as well. So therefore, one particular organism can occupy multiple trophic levels in a given ecosystem. So these were some of the important points to be noted with regards to ecological pyramids. So here I have shown birds eating worms and birds eating seeds. Now there are certain limitations of ecological pyramids. Now ecological pyramids do not give a full-fledged explanation about the energy or food relationship between organisms. So let us quickly look at its limitations or disadvantages. Now, in the concept of ecological pyramids, only food chains are considered. Food webs are not considered. Now, in reality, food chains exist, but in reality, what exists more is the food web. Because in reality, we see one organism eat multiple other organisms. So, food web is something which exists in reality, but it is not included in ecological pyramids. Food chains are very simple concept, so and therefore it alone doesn't exist in reality. Second thing is decomposers are nowhere included in the pyramid. So the pyramids only talk about the grazing food chain. It doesn't talk about the decomposers at all. But we already saw that decomposers form a very important part of our ecosystem. So we just can't ignore them. But the ecological pyramids have ignored them. And these are some of the major limitations of ecological pyramids. Single organism belonging to multiple trophic levels is not considered. Like what I told you in the previous slide. For example, one bird can occupy second trophic level. It can also occupy third trophic level in the same ecosystem. But that is not incorporated in ecological pyramid. As per ecological pyramid, it can only explain the concept of a simple food chain. That's all it can do. So these are some of the important limitations. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.